Hi, Facebook. Good to see you on here today. Hello, hello. I am jumping in today to talk about the fourth factor for breast health in honor of October, Breast Health Awareness Month. The fourth factor being gut health. Okay, so all month long, I'm talking about a different factor. We have 7 factors. The first factor, just to recap where we've been so far. Hi guys. Good to see you on here. Factor number 1 was looking at nutritional health, those nutritional building blocks essential for healthy breasts. Factor number 2 was inflammation and immune balance, which we covered last week. Factor number 3 was hormone health. We talked all about estrogen breakdown, how estrogen can, imbalanced estrogen can contribute to unhealthy breasts. And we also talked about how imbalanced insulin can also do that. So if you want to know about that, if you're on Instagram, you guys, the recordings are over on my Facebook page. And today we are talking about factor number 4, breast health. Hi guys, good to see you on here. Hey Doc, nice, thank you for joining. So let's dive in. You guys, the estrogen talk that we did was I think really awesome. I think people don't really understand the estrogen connection and like how it really comes down to 2 different elements of estrogen, whether you have like estrogen excess in your system, or is it because your liver doesn't break down estrogen very well. So please, please, please spend some extra time looking at that broadcast if you're concerned about the hormonal connection to unhealthy breasts. But today this is kind of actually a spin-off of that talk, because gut health is very much also a part of modulating and protecting estrogen balance and protecting breast health in the body. So if you have questions about this, please let me know. Let's go ahead and dive in. So the thing about the gut health that I think a lot of people don't really consider when looking at breast health is your gut is where 70% of your immune system lives. It's the largest home for the body's microbiome. The microbiome is it's looking at the microbes and the bugs that live in your body. So we know that certain bacteria and other beings and other bugs are very much contribute to our immune system, our hormone health, and our metabolism. So this is something that is kind of newer in the field of science, in the science and research field, but in the field of functional medicine and natural medicine, it's something we've kind of always known and always talked about. The gut has always been a center of focus in the world of natural medicine. And this is what's cool is a lot of this research is now confirming where our efforts have been. So when it comes to the microbiota or the microbiome, we can see that the integrity and the balance plays both an effect on the local health of the gut, but also on the distant elements of health as well in the whole peripheral system. So actually our breasts also have their own microbiome. So there's a lot of research right now being done on how probiotics can help nourish healthy breasts. When we're looking at the microbiome of the body, we know that there are various bacterial genes that have the capacity to create enzymes, or one specific enzyme that we're going to talk about actually, that can modulate or help balance estrogen levels in the body. Okay, so certain bacteria will produce an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. We don't have to say that word 500 times, but it's this particular enzyme that gets released by bacteria that helps to break down estrogen in the gut. Now, we don't want a ton of beta-glucuronidase in the gut, necessarily getting released in excess, but when there's too much or too little, we start to see an imbalance in estrogen in the system, okay? So the thing about, like, we can call the microbiome, we can label that, you know, the bugs in the gut, but more importantly for breast health, we're gonna talk about something that's called the estrobolome, okay? Isn't that a funny word? I thought it was a weird name. The estrobolome is the particular subset of the microbiome that is the bacteria that can help to regulate healthy levels of estrogen in the body. Okay, so the estrobolome, when healthy, produces the right amount of that enzyme, that beta-glucuronidase, that will regulate healthy estrogen levels. So if our body doesn't have enough estrogen available, it'll increase the amount of beta-glucuronidase. If we have if we have too much, it'll decrease the amount of beta-glucuronidase that it's releasing. Now, unfortunately for a lot of us, we have a lot of gut imbalance, or what's called dysbiosis, going on in the body, in the gut. So when we have dysbiosis, or an imbalance between the good bugs and the bad bugs, that's when we start to see a dysregulation of estrogen modulating happening in the digestive system. More current research has been done where they're looking at the microbiome of breast cancer patients and microbiome of the gut in breast cancer patients, and they're confirming that yes, those patients have different, those patients will typically have dysbiosis in the digestive system. So there's something off, and there's some type of contribution of that dysbiosis to the development of those unhealthy breast cells. So you can see why it's really, really important that we have a well-balanced digestive system. Okay, so know that that's actually kind of an easy thing to handle. The thing about gut health, and the reason why so many of us have an imbalanced digestive system, is simply because we've been exposed to a lot of things that will throw off the healthy flora in our gut. So many of us are eating genetically modified foods without knowing it. So becoming a little bit more aware and conscious of the types of foods that you're putting into your body. You know, avoiding corn that's been genetically modified, avoiding fruits and vegetables that have been genetically modified. Pesticides and herbicides will also alter that healthy gut flora. And so making sure that as often as possible you're choosing organic. There's a list called the Clean 15, which would be the fruits and vegetables that you can afford to not maybe get organic, as long as you're doing things to help your body clean that up, like taking Terrazyme between meals and drinking citrus oils. But then there's also a list called the Dirty 30. You can totally Google this, you guys. The Dirty 30 is the list of products that you want to pay organic for, okay? So the thing about the pesticides, the herbicides, the genetically modified foods is they have a high capacity to throw off healthy gut flora, and then in essence, throw off the estrobolome, that community of bacteria that plays a role in modulating healthy estrogen levels in our body. Now also consider looking at your animal protein. So a lot of our animals, our agricultural animals, are getting shot up with estrogen, which is terrible. And unfortunately that means that we get some of that estrogen as well. So in case you don't know this, I'm just gonna tell you it's terrible, but yes, big agricultural companies, they put estrogen in their cows so that they can be fatter and they can get more money for those cows, and then they shoot them up with antibiotics so that those cows don't get as sick as they probably should be, because they're eating food they should never eat, like corn. Okay, and they're throwing antibiotics in there to make sure that those cows don't die, but then guess what? We're also eating that stuff too. So antibiotics are another thing that will throw off the microbiome. We've all had antibiotics. You guys, I'm very integrative, surprisingly. I'm a big advocate for natural, like as often as possible, like 99% of the time. But I've had antibiotics, and before I was introduced to this world of natural medicine, I had Z-Paks prescribed to me constantly. Like, it was ridiculous. In fact, that was the experience that I personally had when I decided to get into the world of natural medicine. I was so sick, and you know, the doctors had given me 3 rounds of the Z-Pak in 1 year. It made me really, really sick. So anyways, long story short, you know, everyone's had antibiotics. So a lot of us are prone to having the gut dysbiosis in our gut, even though we might feel healthy. So there might be some things you want to do just to give your gut a little bit of a reset. And then the final thing I'm going to mention that will often throw off gut health, and therefore throw off our ability to metabolize healthy estrogen because that estrobolome has been altered, is birth control. And many of us have been on birth control. Like, I've done all the things that have thrown off gut health, okay? And I continue to do some of those things, like eat genetically modified foods occasionally when I'm out to dinner, and I don't necessarily know, you know, what's been going on with the food that they're sourcing. I don't always know, and I don't care to be the crazy person at the restaurant that's like not going to be able to go out with my friends because I want to be a psycho about all that stuff. I choose to live my life and just be proactive. So like when I go out to a restaurant, I take my Terrazyme. I'll take 1 to 2 with my meal, depending on how much animal protein I'm eating at the time. And then I'll also take 1 or 2 a couple hours after that meal to help my body better break down some of the pesticides and the herbicides and maybe some of those genetically modified foods that might have snuck their way into my meal. So I would say, like, be really cautious, not conscious, but conscientious of what it is that you're putting in your body that could be throwing off your estrobolome, your part of the microbiome that's in your body that regulates healthy estrogen. Hello, hello. Rosalina, I will talk about what tests you can do to look at your gut in a minute, okay? Thank you for asking that question. So if you have questions about healthy gut, go ahead and pop them in the comment section. Instagram, feel free to do that. Facebook, feel free to do that. I'm going to talk to you about ways that you can help to support a healthy estrobolome at this point. Okay, so if you have questions, let me know. So obviously, in an effort to help that estrobolome stay nourished and stay healthy so that they can release the proper amounts of beta-glucuronidase so that the estrogen levels can be properly modulated. You want to make sure that you are, A, looking at the nutritional factors that you might be consciously or accidentally getting into your diet. B, take Terrazyme with your meals and take an extra dose of Terrazyme, 1 or 2, between your meals if you know you've been exposed to foods that are going to contribute to that imbalance. 3, make sure you're taking Lifelong Vitality. So I have a basic digestive cleanse protocol that I recommend everybody start because many of us do have dysbiosis in our gut. So my basic digestive cleanse protocol is taking Lifelong Vitality, full dose if you're an adult. Yep, you need to have a full dose. I don't care if you're sensitive or not. There needs to be, not sensitive like having a reaction, but a lot of people say, but I'm a sensitive body. I don't think I'll need a full dose of Lifelong Vitality. You do, because your body is, you're an adult. So Lifelong Vitality, full dose. Terrazyme, as I already mentioned, drink your citrus oils throughout the day. You guys, citrus oils are very purifying for the digestive system. They help to clean out that internal environment of the gut so that it's less conducive to the thriving environment. So it's less of a thriving environment for those bad bugs to flourish. And then a gentle detox that you can do is the Digest Zen soft gels. So a lot of people think that you have to do like GX Assist or lemongrass internally, or these like heavy these heavy gut cleansers to be able to clean out your digestive system. But actually Digest Zen has things like fennel in it. Fennel is very, very harmonizing to the bacteria and the flora in your gut. It'll help your body kill off things that don't belong, like parasites. Fennel is also anti-candida, anti-yeast. There's also ginger in there, which is anti-inflammatory, also very harmonizing for the flora and the digestive system, so it'll help your body remove the bad bugs in there. Anise and peppermint is in there as well, and those two items are going to be, those two oils are going to be a little bit more soothing to the gut. So as your body uses that citrus oil, as it uses that fennel, as it uses the ginger, it's going to make it so that your gut is being soothed during that removal process, okay? Also know that the Lifelong Vitality Pack, that Alpha CRS blend in there, is also going to help change and remodel that internal environment of the gut so that it's less conducive to the bad bugs thriving. So I like to think of the gut like a tube, okay? Because it really is. Like, if you want to simplify the gut, it's just this very, 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 very long tube. And if you can keep that internal terrain pristine and clean, your body's natural immune system is going to be able to regulate that flora. Okay, so things like citrus oils, Alpha CRS, and Digest Zen can keep that internal environment more clean and pristine so that when you add oils in that are going to help your gut combat some of the bugs that don't belong, they're going to be able to work more efficiently. So when you take Digest Zen, if that internal environment has been well supported with citrus oils and Alpha CRS to be clean and pristine, then the fennel and the ginger oil in Digest Zen or GX Assist, if you decide to go heavier, they're going to be able to more effectively help your body go after and remove some of those bad bugs that don't belong, okay? Okay, so also probiotics. So doTERRA has a wonderful PB Assist that you can take on a daily basis. I'm more, personally, I'm more of a fan of taking PB Assist like every other month or 1 month on, 2 months off. Although if you are proactively supporting your breast because of like some type of, you know, scan that you had that told you need to be a little bit more cautious of that, you can certainly take PB Assist every day until you're more in a maintenance phase. And then you can go into the, you know, 1 month on, 1 month off, or 1 month on and 2 months off, just depending on your type, okay? But the PB Assist is gonna just help make sure that that microbiome and that estrobolome is being nourished and nurtured. But one thing that people do with with probiotics, and I just want to draw everybody's awareness to, is if you have an imbalance in your gut, it's often not enough to just go in and give your body probiotics and prebiotics. Remember, the PB Assist is both prebiotics, which is food for the good bacteria that already exists, and probiotics, which is the bacterial strains. PB Assist is both of those. But the reason why it's not enough just to do probiotics is because you have to consider that internal environment of the tube. Because if you're just throwing probiotics at the body and expecting those probiotics to be able to take hold in a hostile environment that's more conducive to the thriving of the bad bugs than it is your good bugs, those probiotics are never really going to be able to take a hold, and you're not going to be able to experience all the benefits of them. So it's important that you also consider remodeling that internal environment. So that's the gentle detox, the gentle gut detox that you can do. Just to recap, lifelong vitality, Terrazyme both with meals and between meals. Digest Zen soft gels. The reason why I recommend the soft gels is because they'll open up in the gut, in the small intestine, which is where that cleansing usually needs to happen. And then drinking citrus oils and probiotics, okay? So anyways, that is the breast health and gut connection, that estrobolome, which is this subsection, this sub-community in the microbiome that will release a particular enzyme called beta-glucuronidase that will help your body better regulate estrogen levels in the system, okay? And I just finished talking about the protocol that you can use to help nourish and nurture a healthy gut microbiome. So, okay, a couple of questions here. If you have a question about gut health, let me know. If you're just popping on, we're talking about the connection between breast health and gut health, and how the gut health actually plays a very big part in protecting healthy breasts. Okay, so Christina or Rosalina asked if there is a test that can be done to check for gut issues. Yes, there is. There's actually a couple of different ones. Personally, I really, really appreciate and love Cyrex, C-Y-R-E-X. The Cyrex lab does they have very interesting technologies looking for microbes with a stool test. So it's not the same as like a lot of the stuff that you can buy like online. So you can check out cyrex.com and kind of see what it is. Like there's this new test that's out, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like really well marketed on Instagram, and it comes in this really cute little box. I'm not entirely sure of the technologies that they're using, but I really recommend Cyrex. Janet asked, can styes on kids be gut related? Yeah, so if kids are getting styes in their eye, remember this is actually part of that continuous mucosal membrane. And like we said, styes are connected to infection. So if the gut is overwhelmed and there's a lot of imbalance going on there, if 70% of your immune system lives in the gut, then of course you're going to want to make sure that you're supporting the immunity in the gut. Remember, you can also do melaleuca and lavender on your hand as mom. Rub it in your hands, cup it, and just hold it up to your kid's eye. Just make sure that your hands are clean. And some of those volatile chemical compounds will make their way into the sty. You don't necessarily want to put it like right on the sty, so it's nice to just kind of cup it and let it go in. But yeah, so for kids, you can do a similar gut cleanse. Instead of using Lifelong Vitality, you could use the vitamins that they have, A to Z, the IQ Omega. We have a kids probiotic as well, which is very popular, and you could be rolling citrus oils with fractionated coconut oil and Digest Zen Touch right over the belly. The citrus oils I would put on the bottoms of the feet though. Okay, great question. I'm a big fan of alkaline water, Janet. How would you manage eczema in a toddler with the gut? Yeah, that's a great question, because I know eczema can be hard with toddlers because you can't really get stuff into there. You can't have them like ingest oils because they're kids. But what you can do is you can actually do Digest Zen Touch, which I love that dilution. Roll that right over the belly. And I would actually also, for infection, for a digestive imbalance, I would also get the new kids blend, the new protective blend for kids. It's red. I can't think of the name of it right now. But it's really awesome because it has rose, myrrh, and frankincense. Those are all very powerful immune modulating oils. Then you do the Digest Zen topically. They're both already pre-diluted, rolling that over the belly. And then as soon as your child is old enough to be able to use PB Assist, you can actually give them the child's version of the PB Assist. And then I'm actually also a very, very big fan of DDR prime for kids. So I would get yourself a roller bottle, dilute that accordingly for your comfort with fractionated coconut oil, and then roll that down the spine and on the bottoms of the feet. So DDR prime has a lot of immune supporting elements in there that are also going to go after supporting, balancing the microbiome in the gut. And then finally, so those are 3 rollers. And then finally, you could do the yarrow palm for eczema. Yarrow palm has a lot of the chemical component that copaiba has in it called beta-caryophyllene. Beta-caryophyllene will help. There's actually the skin has its own immune system regulation like below the surface of the skin, and so when eczema, that's actually why there's often immune challenges in the gut, and that can exhibit as eczema in the skin, is because the immune system in the skin is reacting and communicating with the immune system in the gut. So what's cool is that and what makes so much sense holistically is if you work on the gut, I forgot which one I said was which, but if you're working on the immune system of the gut, then the reactivity in the immune system of the skin will be calmed. As the immune system gets calm and harmonized here, the skin immune system becomes less reactive and sensitive to the external environment. So do the gut stuff and then do the yarrow palm topically, because the yarrow palm has that beta-caryophyllene in it, which is going to support a proper immune response to things that are irritating it on the outside as well. And also, yarrow palm has the ability to not just calm because of the beta-caryophyllene, but it can also help support healthy rebuilding of skin too. And with eczema, we can see the skin damage that happens. I have a lot of experience with eczema because my husband he's Filipino, and a lot of Filipinos have major, not just like regular eczema, but the kind that looks like your skin looks like it was burned. That's how bad it can flare up. So the gut was a huge, huge thing for us with eczema. And then for anybody that's watching that has eczema, that's an adult, you can also take the Zendocrine complex in addition to the other recommendations that were made about cleaning out the gut, the yarrow palm topically. Zendocrine complex can actually help with the filtration of stuff that might be hanging out below the surface of the skin, making it so that immune system is more irritated and hyper-responsive and causing flare-ups. So add the Zendocrine complex if you do have eczema and you're working on that too. Okay, good. I'm so glad your kids like the A to Z. That's awesome. Good, good, good. And Rosalina, thank you for sharing this. She said that she worked on her daughter's gut with kids' PBSS, and it made a big difference on her daughter's eczema. And her daughter is little. Rosalina, how old is your daughter? Rosalina's kids are young. Okay, I think I got all the questions in here. If you're watching the recording, go ahead or if you're watching live or you're watching the recording, go ahead and post your questions. I'll be in here answering them. If you have a friend that would be, this information would serve if she's working on nourishing healthy breasts, or if they're working on gut health, this would still be relevant for them too. So if you are watching on Instagram, the recording of this is going to be forever alive on my Facebook page, okay, facebook.com/Dr. Melissa Esguerra. And then our next factor that we will be talking about, and I will probably pop in tomorrow and do, is on detoxification. So keeping the liver healthy and decongested to nourish healthy breasts. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of the day. I'll talk to you soon.